What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have an amazing individual. This guy's a tremendous athlete. He is somebody who has won multiple medals in the Olympics. He's a true Olympian. He's also a Puma athlete. Please help me welcome Deon Lendore. What's up, brother?
Hey, thank you. It's nice to be here.
They got you Puma athletes everywhere, huh?
Woo, there we go, right here. Let's go. Woo.
I feel so left out.
Hey, I got you some stuff.
Yeah, I got some stuff at home in the lab.
In the lab. So how you been, man? How's everything going?
I've been good, trying to readjust yourself, readjust your life, get accustomed with, training and having COVID around and trying to be as diligent as possible, keeping yourself safe, but trying to stay at the top of your game. So, it's kind of a work in progress, but it's been going good thus far.
What adjustments have you had to make from your traditional training in order to be able to continue, in the landscape that we're in?
Well, if we're talking about at the end of last season, what you really had to do was a lot of times we couldn't even get to go back into the weight room because, a lot of us were kind of skeptical about going in the weight room. We're not sure how other people are, taking COVID and, the precautionary measures they are taking. So we actually have to remove ourselves from the weight room. We start doing more, body weight stuff, med ball stuff, more traditional stuff just to keep our muscle going, our muscle in shape. And then when it came to going to track meets, you actually had to check into the track meet a couple times, do the symptoms and exposure questionnaire before you go in. Got to keep your mask on a lot. So imagine just running a race and having to put the mask back on. You got to put air and then you have the mask on, kind of reducing everything. And now, right now, as an athlete, it's kind of easier because we train in a smaller group, so don't have to really worry that much. But while volunteer coaching at the university, you're out there, you got your mask on for the entire session, sun hot. The mask on, you're trying to breathe, but you want to do the best you can do to, keep the athletes safe because the athletes come first. And then, it's always filling out the questionnaires, making sure you get your temperature checked. Almost every 2 weeks I have a COVID test because I think I actually have one tomorrow again. I had one 2 weeks ago. So got to wake up early in the morning and get the test done because it's all about safety right now for yourself and for the athletes.
Are you guys doing the full in the nose one or you guys have the rapid 15-minute test now?
No, the nose, both.
It's so awkward. It feels so awkward. I've had 6 done so far and it's.
Yeah. Well, not sure, you get it done, you knock it out. But, it's all about safety right now because you want to keep sports going. You want to keep sports alive.
Sure.
You want to keep fitness alive. So
important.
I don't mind doing it. Once you can keep sports and fitness alive, I'm down for the cause.
100%. So I want to ask you, what are some of the things that you don't like that you miss from being able to train the way you were doing before? The environment, the actual workouts, and then what are some of the new things you have learned from this experience? What are some of the takeaways you have taken from this being in this new environment of, shifting the way you're training right now and being with other athletes?
Well, right now everything is really structured. There's no real freedom. You can't just do things as you please or as you may. Sometimes even while you're tired, you have to be conscious that, yeah, I'm tired, but gotta stay away from certain people. Can't be up in people's face. And sometimes you want to have that more togetherness with your teammates, but you have to kind of stay away from each other. Even using some of the equipments, we have to know we could use some of the equipments, but you gotta be safe. Gotta wipe it down often. Sometimes you're tired. You don't want to be wiping down every 2 or 3.
No, I don't think anyone wants to be doing that.
Especially in the weight room, you gotta wipe down each weight. Yeah, we're accustomed to wiping down the bar, the rack, So you really want to get back into that feeling where, yeah, I can go. Yes, I'm about cleanliness, but not, cleaning every equipment that you touch. It kind of gets to you. You want to be more comfortable when you go out.
It takes up a lot of time too, right? You only have so many hours in the day that you really can be training, that's optimal for your body.
It's like a 30-minute workout, an hour, just by wiping down and being careful. So, and then you got to schedule your check-ins, got to do this, got to do that. And just the mask, having the mask on, it kind of, it irritates you sometimes. It's hard to breathe. You got to be pulling it down. It's kind of, so you really want to get back to the comfort where I could just do what I got to do. Not really, I got all these other things I got to add to the list.
Now, I'm kind of curious about your, how you work with your coaches as the athlete. Do you have like a specific speed coach? Do you have a strength coach? Like, how does that work in your own practice?
At one point, I had a speed coach, specific speed coach, and specific weight coach. But right now, I have my coach does the speed and the weight room. Before, when I had the specific speed coach and weight coach, they also had to work hand in hand, understanding, well, today he has this workout, so you can't pound him in the weight room. Or the entire week, this is the layout, so you got to lay it out, in coherence with what I'm doing, so you got to have a good understanding with each coach, and then they have to have an understanding with each other. Sometimes that causes
That's difficult.
problem.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Because the weight coach thinks, well, he needs to get it in, he needs to go hard, and the coach is like, you can lay it off a little bit. You can take it easy. You gotta, transition into this. So sometimes there's head clashing, and that kind of caused some problems in the past. So now my coach, he does everything, so he knows the effort I put out on the track. So he knows, well, all right, today you taper it down a little bit. You look good on practice. You look good in practice. You look good in the weight room. So just be smooth and be, nice and comfortable. Treat yourself nice.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up. I used to be like, my background before I got into general population training was in strength and conditioning. And it's funny because often I was on the other side of that, and we would be telling the coaches like, yo, you got to calm down. Like, we can't be beating the shit out of these athletes. Like, they got class, they're dealing with their boyfriend and girlfriends. They're in here. They're like trying to get these meals in. And then you want to go blast them on the field. Like, we can't be running them through the gauntlet every 5 minutes,
Yeah, that's true.
And then you got a guy like Josh who's always stressing you out, man.
I know, yeah. You'd know about that. You'd know about that. But it's funny that you brought that up, because it's so true. It's really important that your entire team is on this cohesive, momentum moving forward. Because if not, like you said, it can really cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, it really does sometimes, and you really want to minimize that, because then sometimes they have the instance where one person is saying one thing, the other person says something. No, the athlete is in between the midst of both worlds. Like, maybe I'm training too hard, maybe I'm lifting too hard, and that's why I'm not where I'm supposed to be. So you really don't want to have all these ideas, because, as an athlete, anything could make you confused, especially if you're not performing. It's like, oh man, I think I got to stop lifting, or oh man, I think I got to take it easy on the track. So you really don't want to have that. So
no,
that's why the coaches need to have the understanding, but egos with coaches, and it's really a clash.
Ego's the ultimate enemy.
Right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely can. It can definitely steer you in the wrong directions if you don't know how to use it properly. That's 100%. So I want to ask you, especially that you have awareness already with that and experiencing the on the field training with your coaches, with your teammates. I want to ask you, how serious do you take your health and fitness beyond what you do with your coaches and with your athletes? How seriously do you take that, and how does that look like when you go back to your home, when you're on your off days? How do you take care of your body? How do you handle that, and how do you go about that?
Well, I really think in the beginning, early years when you're younger, you think you're young, you're strong, you can do anything, you could eat anything you want, you could, relax, you could, But as you start getting older, you realize, well, my body needs to have structure. You need to do certain things to stay on the top of your game. For instance, one person that I really took into consideration, like, keeping track of and helping me to mentally get there was Cristiano Ronaldo. He's about that life.
Savage.
He's about fitness. He's about staying on top of his game when it comes to, he maybe have the money to have the home equipments and everything, but even I've learned that you have to invest in yourself if you really want to be on top or stay on top. I've learned that after practice, you got to come home and do the little things, because sometimes the little things is what takes you the long way. Is that come home, you roll on your foam roller for a little bit. It costs nothing to buy a foam roller. You have some of your balls, you have your stretch mat. You get some of those stuff in place at home. You got to worry about
Amazon, $9.
It's cheap. It's cheap. Yeah. Some people really don't want to buy the simple things, but they rather spend the money and go see a therapist, to do the same thing that you could do at home. Mm-hmm. And, you got to know, well, maybe this day and this day, one day I'll take some ice bath at home. A bag of ice is nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. You can buy 2-3 bags of ice, on your way home. Go take a cold tub. or just an Epsom salt bath, because I really love Epsom salt bath on some days. It really, loosens up my body, clears my mind. I feel good, Take the nice scented Dr. Teal's one and
Hey,
really
you put
get
the
in your zone.
aromatherapy candles up. You got those going. You put a
Little
little
music.
James Brown on in the back.
Music, and you're in the tub and you can soak for a little 15, 20 minutes, and you feel brand new the next day.
Yeah.
All you're missing is your lady now. That's it.
Well, too often, and we hear this all the time, is that people, oh, well, I don't have time for that. I don't have to. It's like, listen, no, you're not making time to do the things you need to do to take care of your body. That's the real answer. So how do you, make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do in order to, perform at the level that that you're capable of?
Well, all I think about is every day when I go out there, I want to put my best effort out, put my best foot forward. The only way I can do that is if my body feels good. The only way you can stay at the top of your game if your body is willing to go the extra mile with you. You can't want to go out on a regular day and give 110% and your body is at 50%. So I'm thinking every day I want to give it my best. So I'm going to do the little things. It's going to take 30 minutes of your time every day to do just simple foam roll. You can foam roll for 15 minutes, then go take an ice bath for another 15. That's 30 minutes. That's nothing. We sit and scroll on our phone for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours.
I get caught in those YouTube rabbit holes, man. And I'm like, it's been 4 hours. Like, you got to be kidding me.
You could just sit down you could scroll while you're in the tub, it's not going to take anything. I also think about, prepare my own meals, in comparison to buying stuff. Like, I think, hey, I can spend $15, $20 in the grocery and I'm getting 4 or 5 quality meals for the week.
Oh yeah.
It takes nothing. You save money, you save, it might take a little bit of time to, just prepare the meal. But after that, you could have meal prepared for a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's saving your time later in the week.
That's exactly right.
It's all about, taking the little steps, and, it's all a mental game. To me, it's all mental. If you want to be the best, if you want to be the greatest, you do the little things to stay on top.
All day. So I can obviously see that you have a pretty good structured out plan, or you got a system going on for you in your life to be able to maintain yourself and keep growing and be a high producer. Do you see that a lot of the athletes you work with, or are they fairly pretty structured, or are there a pretty good handful where they don't take it as seriously when it comes to taking care of themselves after, getting that work done in the field or in the training room or with their coaches?
Well, when it comes to the professional side, the other pros that I train with, we really take pride in, staying on top of, our body and doing the little things that we need to do. So every week you might hear this one or the other is like, I got to go see the therapist today. I got to go see a chiropractor. I'm going to take an ice bath today, because even when we came out to practice this morning, one of my teammates was like, oh, I had an ice bath last night. It changed a lot of things. I feel so much better today. But for me, I like to take my ice bath in the middle of the week after I have a couple good hard days in.
Okay.
Kind of tune me up for the second half of the week, So it's like a tune up, and let's get it again. So I start off the week, get it somewhere in the middle, and let's go. Let's finish strong. While coaching and watching the college kids, a lot of them, I don't think they understand, what it really takes yet. They still going through the motion, and I understand that they're young and, they have a structure around them, so they expect others to be like, hey, you have to come in and do this. Mm-hmm. But
the accountability is there.
It takes that and more if you want to be the best. That's how you see the difference with those who are on top and those who are still trying to get there, because the ones who know what to do, they do it on their own. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to, hey, after the workout, you really have to stretch. Mm-hmm. Or, hey, while you warm up, you really got to, get all the stretches in, because it's going to help you perform well on the track. So you can see the difference. But with the group that I'm with, everybody holds themselves accountable for the simple stuff, the ice bath, the going to see the therapist, and all those simple things.
Yeah. I mean, it really is about having a very consistent daily routine, right? Like, the more you can be and get into a rhythm with your routine, the more freedom you actually have
it all the time.
With your day, like, because you don't have to think about all these things, because you know exactly what you're going to do to warm up, what you're going to do to cool down, what you're going to do for recovery, and what days you're going to do it on ahead of time. Yeah. You don't need to worry about all that. It's just, ready made, boom, boom, boom.
It's like second nature,
Exactly.
It's second nature. It's like, driving a manual car. A lot of people think, oh, it's so hard, but someone driving manual, we don't think about it. It goes to the flow. It's like subconscious of, I have to do this, I have to do that. And a lot of people, they don't take the time just to get into the habit. they worry so much about getting into the habit that they don't even get into the habit. So now it's not even comfortable for them.
And also too, like I see a lot of times too, where people, they rely on their natural skill sets only.
Yeah.
What they know they're really good naturally at. And they're like, oh well, naturally I'm just gifted, and that's great, which definitely is a huge upside, and that's where you see some of the greats who do implement the hard work. But you see those where they only then get so far, and you only see spurts of amazing moments through their career because they don't take their hard work and structure seriously when it comes
Yeah.
to being, behind the scenes or off the field or off the arena, wherever they're competing, at home, and it's just a huge thing that you see in a lot of these athletes who can't make it to the top because of that. And you only see few moments of shine.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because when I started track, I'm not gonna say I was, the hardest worker, or I was the most diligent athlete. I was one of those who believe I have the talent. I could go out there and do it. And one day my coach told me, he looked at me, he's like, your talent is only going to get you this far. If you want to go above, you have to do everything else to get above and beyond. It's like your talent is going to get you halfway there. And that's when I realized, like, maybe I really have to buckle down and do the little things. And when I really start taking care of myself and taking pride in the little things, that's when I really start, I start getting more good days in, because I'm not sore, I'm not tight. I feel nice out there. I feel loose. I feel like, I could give 100% 5 days of the week, instead of some of my teammates after 2-3 days, they're tired. Oh, coach, I'm tired. I need this, I need that. We need to take it. So it's the little things that really gets you to push yourself above and beyond.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I used to always, or the coaches that I work with in the weight room in the colleges that I was at, we used to always tell the athletes, like, if you're only working 80-85%, and then you try to go into a game and you try to turn it on to 100%, but then, you're also jacked up on testosterone, so that's going to take you even more, you're going to try to amp it up even more because you're all hyped up. Your body's going to blow out because of that. Like you didn't prepare to go at 113%, you prepared to go at 80%. So what happens when you try to turn it on? Blown hamstrings, quad injuries, big mistakes, because you're not, like you said, it's not second nature. It's not repetition for them.
Yeah, that's true. So if you don't train your body to go to the next level, why do you think? Well, what makes you think it's going to be able when you ask for it? You ask your body to go above and beyond, but it's never been there. It's like you're trying to go somewhere your mind has never been. You've never seen that. So you're not going to get there. You're going to want to get there. You're going to think that you have the ability to get there, but your body never tasted it before. So it's like you never tasted, being on the top. You never tasted what it felt like to win. That's why those who win, they kind of stay on the top for longer, because it's like, yeah, I know how this feels like. I'm going to keep working hard for it. And then there are those who never tasted it. It's like, oh man, I'm going to try, but are you really trying hard enough? Are you really doing the necessary things to get there? You have to take a chance. It's all about taking a chance.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. You got to believe, you have to believe in yourself more than anyone else.
Oh yeah. And I think going back to some of the things you've repeated over and over again, the little things, right? So it's taking a chance on yourself and doing the little things you need to do every single day to achieve whatever result you want. And this goes with anything. This goes with anything you do in your life, whether it's business, relationship, partnerships, being an athlete, health and fitness, wanting to attain a certain goal. If you can do those little things and take a chance on yourself, right? Most importantly, and do those little things every day, you'll get there. And I think that a lot of people crave for that magic pill. And I tell people all the time, there's so many amazing tools that we can use all the time. But really what the magic pill is that consistency. It's that taking that chance, the just going in. That's the magic pill, and sticking to that consistency, obviously applying these tools in there, but sticking to it, and doing a little bit of it every single day, which will get you there. And that's what people, I think, have a hard time understanding, because everybody's like, okay, what's the magic pill? What are you doing? Because it's obvious.
How do I get rich quick, Mendez?
How do I get rich quick? Or how do I become an athlete like him? Because
I need that passive income, Yeah, I need to make money while I sleep, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
Get to work.
But that's true though. That's true. People, they want the results, but they don't want to put the work in. Or they want the results of the best. They look at the best and it's like, oh, I want to be like him. But it's like, there was years behind what it took for him to get there. Like that iceberg analogy. You see the tip of the iceberg, but you don't see everything at the bottom. You don't see all the hard work and the time and the effort. Because you think, yeah, we have won a medal this year. We have been working for this medal for 4 or 5 years. We didn't just wake up and say, hey, I'm going to race in the Olympics. I'm going to win a medal. No, it took a lot.
I'm going to go for a run today.
And especially you guys have to wait a pretty long time for that next,
the next Olympic
competition.
Yeah.
So definitely that's even for mentally wise, that's a big one, because it's not like, okay, every year I know that I'm going to enter the Olympics. It's like, no, it's every 4 years.
Yeah. So it's like
different mentality.
You got to grind it. And once people learn that, hey, it's not a wake up and tomorrow I have this, or wake up and tomorrow I have that. Even I sometimes, that's like the people who go in the weight room today. They lift a couple weights, they get a little swollen body, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm strong, I'm ripped. No, you got to keep doing this. Even after the day you get sore, you got to go on the day that you're sore. You can't take a day off because you're sore and then come back at the end of the week. Oh, I'm not sore today, so no, you got to go when you're feeling good, when you're feeling bad, when it's cold, when it's hot. You got to put in the work every day. No matter how you feel, you got to put in the work, and that's how you get to the top.
I think that's a amazing message in itself, man. And you mentioned that you coach collegiate athletes, I'm assuming. Yeah. So how is that shift for you mentally, now that we're on the whole mental topic? How is that for you mentally, shifting from being that high performing athlete, that Olympian that you are, into that mentorship role that you now have to fill as a coach? Because it is a very different mentality there. Yeah,
it's definitely two different roles, because now you go for, I'm the, I got to have that beast mentality. Now you really have to go from a beast mentality to an understanding mentality, because now you're dealing with other people who may not think like you, who you really have to apply different methods to get to them, to bring out the beast in them. So it's like a process that every day you learn a little bit more. So you really have to watch each athlete differently. You can't just go out there and treat everyone as a whole, because everybody, you trigger them in a different way. So I go out there each day and I look at the athletes, and there's some that they're out loud. They like when you yell at them. They like when you get at them in front of everybody, because it turns them on. It gets their engine going. There's some you have to pull them to the side and, talk to them nice, soft, quietly. They might come up to you. There's some will come up to you. There's some you have to go to them. They might be a little timid, and you have to go and talk to them. Hey, you look good. You can't be worried about today. You got to have faith in yourself, have confidence in yourself. And sometimes I hope that me being an athlete and, working hard, because sometimes I tell you, sooner or later we're going to have to race each other.
That's a good point.
But when the season comes, we're gonna have to race each other. And it's like,
coach gonna have to race the mentees.
Gonna have to show the young bloods how it's done.
So it's gonna be one of those moments that's like, someday I'll be like, yeah, I can't wait to race you. I'll be like, yeah, coach, I'm gonna race you. I'm gonna beat you bad. It's gonna be a good one. That's how you have to be. But like with girls now, sometimes with girls, and then there's a difference in coaching boys and girls.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to calm down. You have to understanding of everything.
Hey, but there's some women beasts out there.
Oh, hell yeah.
There are women beasts. There are the ones that be like, hey.
Oh, the girls out on the track, they fucking get after it. They're not fucking around. If you ever see a track athlete, you know she's working hard. She's got bigger quads than I do.
Yeah. They actually do, but it's all about understanding the athletes. You can't just rush to it and think that they all are the same.
Yeah, no, and there's something to say too about, being flexible with your own personality so that you can get the most out of your athletes, and I think that in itself is super important to understand, is that you have to be able to shift your mentality, right? Depending on the athlete that you're working with.
Yeah.
It's like with us, like, like you were saying, I have some clients that, I can just tell them, like, listen, man, you're being fucking lazy right now.
Right.
And you need to get fucking going. We've been here for 15 minutes and we've done nothing. Yeah. And other people where I'm like, okay, like, you want to kind of go through, we got to get going. It's like, when really I want to be like, let's fucking go. But you have to be able to adapt to their personality so that you can get the most out of them, right? Because that's your role as the coach.
Yeah, that's really your role. You gotta do what you gotta do to bring the best out of them, and without breaking them. But you're just making them stronger mentally. You just gotta get them stronger. There's some days everybody's gonna get the same treatment. It's like if they're doing bad, like you gotta get out there. You guys are doing bad.
Sure.
What are you doing? Are we wasting time? But there's some days, it's like, yeah, it's all about motivating athletes. You got to come out there and make them happy, make them want to go, the extra mile. You can't always break them down, but some days you got to let them know, hey, you're slacking. It's either you want to be good or, you want to be great.
And
so it's all about shifting that mindset, but, it takes time, but, I'm getting to that point.
And
That's
letting
awesome.
them know, too, you can't do it for them.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. A lot of these
autonomy.
athletes, sometimes they feel like, well, if I just, my coach can handle this or my coach this, or if I, get somebody to help me with this or this and that. And it's just like, nah, dude, you're the athlete. You're the one performing. You got to do it. You got to go out there and do it. You got to get the recovery. You got to go put it.
And that's true. That's true. A lot of athletes also think just because they come out here and do the workouts that, they're doing everything that needs to be done. But, hey, I could coach you how much. I could give you everything. I could put it all in your hands. But if you don't go out there and get it done, then we're just wasting time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're not going to hold their hand into their apartment and like, okay, you want me to go run the bath for you? I got the ice bags ready. Like, no, they got to go. They got to go and do that.
So how many gold medalists you got in there, huh? How many
gold medalists?
How many future gold medalists you working with now? We gotta know what we're getting ourselves into here in the U.S.
I believe on the team, if they really push themselves to the limit, there's at least two guys. Well, the two guys on the same events, but they can really go at it head to head because they're two of the best in college right now.
Wow.
There are two girls they really can run, and there's one guy over the hurdles. He's a great athlete. He's young. He's still developing himself mentally, but he got that about him. Like, yeah, hey coach, I'm ready to go today. Hey coach, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. So he's young and is still at that point where, yeah, I'm still trying to get to him. Like, yeah, I know you hype, I know you, but we got to get that mental strength up a little bit, Got to get you to know, you got to do the little things. You got to get yourself in a position where when it's time to go, you're going to go. So yeah. I'll say on that team, at least 5 people could be potential great athletes. And 5 is a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot.
Yeah, hurdles is my favorite track event of all time. It takes so much athleticism to be able to, hit that jump full speed and then do it again and again and then have to fucking book it. Man, it's you have to be an incredible athlete.
See this guy jump over a coffee table.
Oh, I'm skilled. I'm like low key athletic. You look at me and you'd be like, oh, there's no way that this kid's athletic. Be like, okay, I'll show you. Just lace them up.
That's it.
Yeah.
Done. One and done.
Get the juices flowing. That's all it takes. Just a little shit talking, and you fucking got me going.
I think that's all it takes. A little shit talking.
Yeah, just run your mouth a little bit, and I'm ready. Let's go.
So brother, what colleges are some of the ones that you're working with as far as where the students are going?
Well, right now we mainly work. I mainly work at Texas A&M University, and I actually went to school at Texas A&M. When I finished in 2015. And then, I went to a couple of different training groups, and then I was home for a while training, and then I actually came back to the U.S. and, I had the opportunity to, take the job. And to me, it was like, I really like working with younger athletes. I really like, trying to get people to a place where, they can better themselves, they can help themselves. And when I had the opportunity, I was like, might as well do it, It's something that is going to be good for me, and I like seeing athletes get the best out of themselves, the gratification from seeing someone doing great. It makes me happy. It fills me on the inside seeing people do great. And that's why I was like, maybe I should get into coaching, just for fun right now, because I'm doing it I'm running track as an athlete. So maybe I can implement some of the stuff I've learned over the years and help these kids, have the ability to go out there and make themselves proud, make their family proud, make, your city proud. Because those are things that really, sitting above the top makes you want to do more. When you go back home and your whole city loves you, your whole school loves you. So everybody is happy at home. So I'm hoping that I can get at least 1 or 2 athletes to go out there, make your family proud at least. And then maybe your city proud. And then from there, once you get them to do these simple things, they get that hunger, that greed, that mentality. All right, I'm going to get out there and go above and beyond now.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, even for a personal aspect, right? Like you as the athlete, because you are coaching these kids, because you are getting repetition from a different viewpoint, you know, you can take that into your own practice, into your own races, and you know, take it to a whole nother level because of those different viewpoints that you can now see from an outsider perspective, from the coach perspective.
No, and that's true, because even when I'm doing my own workouts, I'm like, we tell the kids to do this, you need to do that too, because sooner or later they're gonna be like, hey, coach, how come you tell us to do this, but you're not doing it? You know,
Yeah.
you don't want it to get to the point of, hey, well, you know, what is this? You tell us to do this, but you're not doing it. So even I try to implement the simple things that I tell them, you know, work your arms, you know, stay focused, keep your head up. So when I'm getting my workout in, I'm telling myself, you know, so basically I'm coaching myself, you know, work your arms, keep your head up, you know, put your feet on the ground, you know, try to stay upright, try not to beat hands on your knees after each rep, like you're gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be strong.
So I want to go back to something that stuck to me, that you had said, you know, having these kids, these young athletes, you know, representing, you know, their wherever they're coming from, their country, and being able to go back and have their people cheering and happy, and them feel happy, and acknowledging them. I think a lot of people forget that, you know, in the Olympics, it's so much about that culture, you know, where you're from, that community, the country. And it's just like, how is that level of mentality different than when you're just competing in other competitions? Not saying that they're not important.
Yeah.
When you get to that stage, it's just almost like, man, I'm winning this for my country. I'm winning this to like go back home and be that superhero image, or be that person who achieved this greatness and be recognized in our country for being great in this sport, in this competition. How is that mentality shift? How do you bring that into your students?
Well, first of all, like to explain that, like it's really two different worlds. Sometimes you go out there, you race, it's like, okay, I got to race in. There are people that are happy, you know, people are happy. But when you go out on the Olympics, it goes from just running from this, you know, just the Puma, that's just you and a brand, to, you know, you and a country. It's like having, and my country, they're big on track and field. You know, when we go to the Olympics, it's like, you guys have, it's like, you have to bring us a medal. They're not asking.
Yes.
No, you better bring a medal.
You guys better bring back a medal. So when you go out there, it's like, it was one time we went out to an event, and it's like, you guys know we have to win the medal because they want it. We know we want it, but we're like, they want it. We're happy if we could bring a medal for Trinidad first, then we can, you know, take the gratification after, since like it's 1 point something million people on our back. Let's do it for them. And that really gives you the extra push. It gives you the drive, because now you're not doing it for yourself. You're not being selfish. Because sometimes if you're doing it for yourself, it's like, maybe next time. But now when you know there's so many people at home and they cheering you on, you finish your race and you go online, you see everybody on Facebook, oh, you guys did great. You can't wait till you come home. We're going to have a party. It's like, okay, well, you know, let's do this. Let's go hard. You know, like they say, go hard or go home. So once you step on the track and once you have that flag on, it's like, it's time to go hard. It's like a different mentality.
We all know those parties get crazy, I bet.
Yeah, no, some of those parties, like.
Never ending, I can imagine.
They party for anything, but with the kids, you know, you try to show them that that's like the same thing. You go out there, first, they kind of learn that from a relay perspective. When you run an individual event, that's just for you. All right? It's up to you to mess up. You could either make or break. Now, when you're running a relay, it's you and 3 other people. So you're not just doing this for yourself, so you can't be selfish no more. You have to, you know, put your best foot forward for the next guy, because you got to give him something to work with. And then the next guy got to give the other person something to work with. So the more you can do for them, you know, you get the whole team gratification. And when they learn to work together, you know, it's that cohesiveness as a relay team. Then they can, you know, transition. Now it's a team event. You got to do this for the team, because it might come down to where you guys have to win the 4x4. And if you win, the team wins. So now, you know, so college teaches you that, but on a smaller scale. So you start off with a relay team, you do this for your relay team, and then you're doing this for the entire team to win, you know, the NCAA title or whatever it may be. So, you know, it teaches them from the small scale, and then, you know, you go on, now it's time for the country. You move on from college, it's time to do this for your country. So, you teach them, they learn step by step. It's like levels. You pass each level, you go into another one. It's harder. More people on your back. It goes from your team to your school to the whole city to the state. Then, you win it all.
Don't forget mom at home.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I can only imagine how hyped she is seeing you on the track at the Olympics, man. Must be an incredible feeling.
With your mom, it's always bragging rights for her, because
oh yeah,
that's my baby.
She's going to the supermarket every day, like, look at what my son did. Yeah. You guys see my son?
All the newspaper clippings, like even like the first medal I won, the first real big medal was the Olympic medal, and I was like 19. And when I got home, she took it from me. She's like,
"This is mine.
Everything I've done for you, this is mine." And, I never said anything. I was like, you're right. It's fine. You really have done a lot for me, so it is yours.
So was it more like, honey, since I have done all this for you, I think I deserve that medal? Or was it like you came in, you're like, man, and she just snatched it out of your hands? No, that's my medal.
Yeah.
I came actually after the Olympics. I actually flew back to the U.S. She booked a flight for me to home.
She's like, I know what I need.
When I came home, she's like, "Where's the medal?" I was like, "It's right here." She's like, "Okay, this is mine." I was like, "Wow."
She's like, I already got the frame for it and everything. It's already set.
A special place. I was like, "Okay, well, you're right. You can keep it."
Yeah, that's incredible. That's hilarious. You with all of your success must be a tremendous inspiration to the people of Trinidad, and especially the young kids. Who were some of the people, with all of the tremendous athletes that have come from that region, who were some of your idols growing up that you really drew inspiration from to work harder to get to obviously the place that you are today?
Well, starting from Trinidad, I had a friend. He was the first guy to actually keep pushing me in track and field. His name was J.U. Gordon. He was a 400-meter hurdler. He actually won the world champs in, I believe,
Shout out.
2013. So he was one of the guys that he always kept pushing me. You got to do this, you got to do that. If you want to go to college, you got to apply here. Look at this school, look at that school. My coach, he was a great athlete. He didn't medal, but he's done a lot of great things. He used to run fast, and he kind of kept me on track. Even when I left Trinidad, he used to call me every day, like, "Hey, how you doing this week?" He was like a dad, like a father figure to me. He really looked out for me every day. Other athletes in the Caribbean, there's this Kirani James from Grenada. He's my age, but he was like an idol because he have done everything, won every medal there was.
Wow.
From World Youth to Olympic to World Champs, he's done everything, and he was really an idol for me growing up. He also runs a 400. I really looked up to him. And then you have other athletes like, Usain Bolt. I really a lot of my focus was on Caribbean athletes because to me we all have somewhat of a similar background. We're going to try hard to get out of the Caribbean and, put a small country on the map. And I always kept that ideology. I'm doing this for me and my country. So every time I go out on the track is Deon, this is not just for you, this is for your country. Because once you make them proud, it's like, you give other kids in the country hope that, hey, he did this, we could do this. And that's all I want kids to know, that, hey, if I could do it, you all could do it. You all could get there. And I just hope that, we continue to, produce great athletes. And I'm hoping that, I could go home and kind of coach a couple of athletes, keep motivating the athletes that, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. We could come from wherever, but if you want it, you could get it.
Exactly.
Because a lot of Caribbean athletes are some of the best in the world.
Oh yeah.
And that's all I want some of these kids to know, that, yeah, no matter where you're from, you could come from anywhere. If you want it, you just have to put in the work, do the little things, and there's always people who will see, your talent, and they will get it out of you. But you have to be able to work with them. Don't go against the grain.
I think this is very powerful because, especially for our listeners out there, it's something that is so true, and I think it's so amazing the fact that you said, if you want it, you can get it. And if you work hard enough, you'll have it. And the fact that, you coming out of a Caribbean country, being a small country, these opportunities are opportunities of hope many times for a lot of athletes and young kids out there who, want to enter, somewhere bigger where they can have more opportunity and growth and bring that back to their country and celebrate and inspire more people and more young athletes to be able to let them know, like, hey, you can leave here one day and be able to do this. You're
Yeah.
capable enough to be able to go out here if you put in the work. You can become the next gold medalist or
Yeah.
multi-gold medalist and continue winning, medals and cheering on with your country and showing others that, that's a possibility as well. And I think it's beautiful when you see that, circle come around of athletes doing it, inspiring other ones, getting young athletes out of there doing the same thing. And when you represent your country, especially like you were saying, these small Caribbean countries, it's funny because I do see a difference. I do see a difference when it comes for certain countries like that when they're competing. You could see a different level of heart. You could see a different level of spirit, a different level of energy that I truly feel, will pour out into the competition, into the world,
Yeah.
because there is that bit of, I don't want to say chip on the shoulder, but there is some kind of like, hey, I'm coming from this small place. I'm in the Caribbeans. I'm fighting for my country. I'm fighting for these group of people because we are more than capable.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a sign of hope. You try to get to the finals to show people that, hey, because a lot of times when we go into the finals, they're like, the small Caribbean islands, because our population is 1.3 million. That's maybe that's nothing. There are states in the U.S. and almost double, triple.
I think that there's like double the amount of people just here in Miami.
Yeah, the city of Miami alone.
Yeah, I think there's like 3.5 million, something like that.
Yeah, so to me, it's just that sign of hope, when they be like, hey, I know this guy. Because when you come from a Caribbean island, almost everybody know everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I know him. Because a lot of times there are people who might see me on TV and say, hey, isn't that, the kid from blah, blah, blah? It's like, yeah, because my sister, she works at a bank. And sometimes I go, to check on her when I come home. And people be so shocked. That's your brother? She's like, yeah. And they're like, nah, that's not your brother, because, they see you in the newspapers, they see you on posters, and it's like, ain't no way you guys are related. She's like, yeah, that's all around what you guys are.
Just go to my mom's house and you'll see the gold medal.
I always love seeing those like fan interactions with, the siblings or the parents of athletes or people who are always surrounded by athletes. Because, when I worked at Syracuse as an intern, my sister, she's like 8.5 years younger than me. She used to go fucking insane after the games, like want to meet all the players. I'm like, you realize these kids are my age, right? Like, they're just 18-year-old kids. Like they're doing the same thing I'm doing. They're just like slinging a football around on the weekends. Like, it's so funny because when you're part of that, athletic sphere for your whole life, you just consider, other athletes as people. You're just like, you see your teammates as like brothers, you see the female athletes you work with as like sisters or cousins. And then to see like how how fans interact, and you're like, oh shit, like I actually, these athletes, like everyone who's working in the athletic department, they're really making a difference in this community. Like they're really, giving, like you said, they're giving people hope, because, where I come from in Syracuse, there's, it's gloomy 99% of the year. It's snowing constantly. So there's not a lot of, all you have.
How many people?
I think there's like 150,000, something like that. It's not that big. But all there is university in the athletic department. So like the athletes, they are the celebrities of the town. They are the people. So, it's always funny to me when I hear athletes tell those stories of like, all these fans would go to my sister and be like, oh my God, I can't believe, you're like, it's just my brother. Like,
It's so true, man. It's so true. And it's just like, it's just funny to see, but I think it's also amazing at the same time where, sports can be something of, of hope for a lot of individuals. And it's just when you see the excitement out of everybody that, has a family member, a friend that comes out of a sport, you see the bringing in and bonding of different individuals from different groups, from different countries coming in. I feel it's like it's the one time it's like where you see all countries, especially when it's at that scale, Olympics, stuff like that. When you see at scale, so many countries come together, same thing like in the World Cup in soccer, when all these countries come together, it's beautiful when you can see that, and see the power that sports has. I think, I think in reality, I think sports is one of the most powerful things, to really unite countries, honestly.
Very transformational, in terms of like,
I believe that's how I always tell people, sports change the world. And that's why I always look to sports, because sports will bring any group of people together. There's sometimes, there's one time I went to a track meet in Italy, and sometimes you don't know who may know you, who may be looking up to you. And, I finished the 400. I don't believe I didn't win that race. And, I was walking out, and this guy just looked at me. He kept calling my name. He was calling my name since before the race, And sometimes when one person gets to you in the entire crowd, you will have that focus on him after the race. And after the race, I walked up to him, and he was like, just doing this because sometimes, they just want your bib, they want a number. So, I just ripped it off and I handed it to him. And he was so happy. He ended up posting it on Instagram and following them. And, looking at it, like, I've talked to him since, and that maybe was like 2016. I've been talking to him since 2016, I've worked with him. He did a paper on athletes and athlete performance. I did some, sending some information to him, and I saw him graduate from, it felt like he's a friend, because I saw him graduate from college, and now he's working with this medical thing with Juventus now.
It's amazing.
And one of his groups, a football team. So I was like, sometimes sports really bring the world together. So you think you're that far apart, but there are people that will talk to you from random parts of the world. There are people that are happy to support other people from other countries, and that's how we learn to understand each people culture, what they're about, and you really open your mind. Say, hey, there's this place, there's that place. Even the Olympics teach you about places you never know existed. And sometimes I hear places like, hey, where's that? I didn't even know some of these places existed. But sports really bring the world together, and it brings everyone closer, and you really have an understanding and love for each other with sports.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the connections and the friendships that are made over athletics, over sports. It's never the ones that you would really expect. It's like you said, the guy in the crowd. That you end up and look at the the relationship that's fostered since that.
Now
moment.
I know what me and Josh need to do. We're gonna just sit in that. Come on.
No,
I'm focusing on you.
You want to do a jersey swap right now? No. I'll sign it for you. It's been absolutely remarkable to hear a little bit about your story and to really see the impact that you're having, not only in your community in Trinidad, but also at Texas A&M. It's not easy being a college athlete, especially when you come from a lot of the areas that those kids come into. So to be able to have a role model like you, someone that can really coach them through those tough times from a perspective that they're familiar with, I think is really important. And I always really like to see when athletes get into the coaching realm, because you can give that insight that other coaches who were just like kind of brought up the coaching tree have. Before we wrap things up, man, we're almost at an hour. I want to, give you an opportunity, excuse me, to let everyone know where they can find you on Instagram, social media, if you have a website, and any races you have coming up in the future that we can watch out for you and root you on. I'd love to.
Well, all my social media are the same, no matter what. And I learn to keep it nice and simple. Ooh. So it's at Deon Lendore. So that's DeonLendore. There's no space and anything. Right now, we're in the training phase, so we're not really doing that much. The races will start from January, but once we get into competition season, I'll start posting more about, hey, I'll be out here. You can look out for me here. But right now, we in that, that foundation stage. You got to get that good foundation. If you want to build a good house, you have to get a good foundation. So
I love that word, foundation.
I'm about laying that foundation right now for a couple of months, and maybe from January we're going to be back out there and starting to grind again, because there will be a track season. They're learning how to adapt sports and work around this COVID thing, which I find is really great thing. So, learning to work around COVID has really helped sports, and I hope, we stay on top of things and, keep sport moving, because sport really changes the world.
100%.
Yeah. You definitely keep us updated on when you got these future races going on, man. And we'll make sure we get as many eyes on you, cheering you on as we possibly can. We'll definitely be two of them.
We'll do.
Yeah, for sure. I want to say, I know Anthony's got a couple more things he wants to ask you just to wrap things up, but from a personal standpoint, I want to thank you for coming on today, man. It's been,
no problem. It's been a pleasure.
Been truly amazing, man. Pouring out all this value and information and showing what you're doing, as an athlete and as a coach is truly remarkable. So I just want to hit you with a few quick little questions and finish with a bang.
The gauntlet.
Woo! All right. First thing. Are we gonna see you compete in the next Olympics?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Yes.
What are you competing in?
The 400 and the 4x400 meter relay.
Ooh.
Are any
Rough.
are any of your students competing against you?
Most likely there will be at least 2 athletes.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
That should be competing against me.
There you go. That'll be good. That'll put a little extra emphasis on it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it will.
What countries?
USA and Cayman Islands.
Okay, I like hearing that. I like hearing the U.S. in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from being a coach?
The biggest lesson I learned from being a coach is everyone works at their own pace. You can't force someone to, develop just because the person next to them is developing as fast. So you gotta, let everybody, mature at their own rate, and you can't force it upon somebody.
Love it.
I try to tell him that all the time. I'm like, he'll get there. He'll get there.
Number 3, what's the craziest and wildest experience you have ever had at the Olympics?
The craziest and wildest experience, I once went to a party at the Olympics, and it felt like, because it was after Olympics, it felt like 99% of the people was wasted.
That's like a trainer Christmas party.
Right?
We almost couldn't get rides back home because imagine everyone trying to leave one spot and going back. So it's like let's say you're paying $100, $200 for Uber to get back.
I've been there. I've been there too. I've been there in Miami.
That hurts.
Too many times.
That hurts.
Too many times. You just ask the cab driver, hey, can you turn the meter off? I'll just give you 100 and we'll.
Yep. We'll call it there.
Yeah.
We'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. I got another one for you. What is the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today?
The biggest advice I can leave to everybody is once you believe, you can achieve. If you believe you can do something, you can do it. All it takes is hard work, confidence in yourself, and you can't rush the process. You have to work hard. You have to believe in yourself. You got to know that it's a process. You can't wake up tomorrow and be the best. It takes steps, and you always got to you always got to be in the center of great people. You can't want to be the best in the world, but there are people around you that are negative and they're always doing the wrong things. You got to always center yourself with people who are willing to go the extra mile, people who are, constantly pushing you towards that direction. Because I would wake up tomorrow and I'd be like, man, I'm tired. And if I say, man, I'm tired to my friend, he's going to be like, don't you have to run? Don't you have to do this? So, sometimes you don't want to hear it from your friend, but those are the people that's going to get you to the top. They're always about that work, but, it's that work mentality that you have to have around you that's going to get you to the top. Don't have those that be like, man, I think I'm going to get drunk this weekend. Hell yeah, let's go, bro. And they do that every weekend a month, That's not going to work. You got to surround yourself with people that of like mind. Like they say, iron sharpens iron. So you can't go out there having the wrong people as your company. You're not going to get to the top.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes, man. Iron sharpens iron. So true.
Fact.
So true. Well, one more time, thank you, Deon, for coming on. Best of luck with your training and building that solid foundation, getting ready for the Olympics. We'll be rooting for you, man.
We'll
all right, thank you for having me.
Much love, guys.
All right, man. Till next time.
Thank you.